Welcome to
Boring.
But Effective.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. Today I have David Corridon joining me. Many people in the financial service industry will know David. He's been around for a long time. I'm pleased to say he's a friend of mine, and he's the CEO of our licensee, Nextplan Financial. David, welcome.
Thank you very much, Dave. Good to see you, and thank you for the opportunity.
My pleasure. It's great to have you on. So, a lot of things that us financial planners get asked is what is actually a licensee? So can you tell us who is Nextplan Financial and what's your role as an Australian financial service licensee holder?
Okay, so our role. So firstly, Nextplan has been around since 2014. That's when we got the Australian Financial Services License, which means that we're able to work with people who want to provide advice to their various clients across aspects of financial advice, be they superannuation, investments, insurance. The reason we created the business was I'd been in a number of employee roles working for a number of previous AFSLs over the years. And the one disconnect in my mind was how closely they worked with their advisors and the level of support they provided. And so we really wanted to make a difference by being a business partner, if you like, with our advisors within the group. Our primary role, if you like, from an ASIC perspective and ASIC being the Australian Securities Investment Commission, they grant the licenses, so you have to apply to ASIC for an Australian Financial Services license and go through a process before you're actually allocated one. But our role is primarily to monitor and supervise, I should say, and work with our advisors to make sure that they're doing the best things that they can do for their clients.
That's a great explanation, and there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, no doubt. The title of this little show is Boring But Effective, and there's a hell of a lot of boring stuff we all do together that means we can be effective for our clients. So, can you tell us, like the support you give us is fantastic. Can you tell us a couple of key things that you do that help not only Nextplan but the advisors in your stable meet their obligations for ASIC and their clients?
Yeah, I think, Dave, the thing for me has also always been, as I said before, providing the right support and partnering. And I think the partnering perspective, a lot of our advisors and yourself included are one-man practices. And as a result, running a one-man business can be very lonely. And as you said, the name of this podcast is, boring. So a lot of people do glaze over as soon as you start talking about, concepts like superannuation. It's vitally important to all of our own well-being. And if you said to someone in the street, how would you like a 10% or 12% pay rise? They'd go, absolutely. How do I get my hands on that? Well, that's effectively what superannuation is, yet a lot of people don't even understand what their super does or where it is or how it works. So I think one of the things we really do differently is as you know, on the professional development day we had last Friday, and we have usually monthly events where we will put our advisors into a room where we can make contact and share both the good and the bad. And learn from each other. So it's vital that we keep up to date with all of the current legislation and current requirements, but also share the stories about how we're working and making ourselves better. So we all learn from each other and all develop as a group. And that, of course, means that as a licensee, we're understanding why people are doing things and how they're doing them.
That's exactly right. There's a big difference between markets being cyclical and you get a negative return as opposed to a genuinely flawed investment product that was just an absolute dog from the beginning and was never going to do what it actually said it was going to do. And then there's other stuff that's just outright fraud that needs to be dealt with as well. And that's a good explanation there. You guys aren't just here's your login to do your professional development on whoever might be the provider. It's there's a lot of stuff we do and in person as well that works well in those PD days. So thanks for that, Dave. Now, in your opinion, what's the future look like for Nextplan Financial and the broader financial services industry?
Yep. From our perspective, I think the future looks bright across both Nextplan and the financial service industry. For us, we've got a number of initiatives that we're looking at the moment, which are going to make, certainly we've got a number of people that are looking to join us at the moment. And the reason for that is because there's a lot of disarray and a lot of lack of support in the industry generally. So there are a number of people who are looking to come to a smaller group such as ourselves, where they can get some better service and really feel the support and love, if you like, that will make a difference to their business. So I think that's a really good opportunity. We're also doing we're also looking at making our advisors' lives easier. You know, we're trying to streamline the paperwork and streamline the process. And so we've got good relationships with paraplanning companies. We're making our statements of advice, our advice documents easier to use, easier to understand. So clients understand what they're doing. They don't need to have an 80-page document to tell them that they're going to have a happy retirement. They want to know that they're going to have a happy retirement. That's the important part. And we do all the research, and we keep all the relevant documentation and do all of the things that we need to do. But we also need to make the experience with the clients a lot more effective and concise, I think. So we're moving down that path. We've got the increase in inventions of different softwares and AIs, etc., and the whole technology piece is dramatically changing what we do and how we do it. And there's going to be some really exciting stuff happening there. And then, of course, you've got the fact that we've lost 15,000 out of the 30,000 advisors that we had in the country. So we've only got 15,000, and that number is shrinking as well. So the need for advice has never been more required. We've got huge monies transferring across generations over the next, couple of decades. And with that, the intergenerational transfer is going to have major impacts. And we need to make sure we capture that properly too. There's so many opportunities within to talk to both the person who is now looking at retirement and moving into aged care, as well as their dependents who are then making really serious decisions about what's going to happen to that estate that will then impact their children. So we need to really understand that wealth transfer is something not just for the super rich; it's for everyone. It's for people who have families that need to protect themselves. And unfortunately, whenever money's involved, there's an element of greed, and there's an element of skullduggery, and there's all sorts of dishonesty and disinformation and all sorts of horrible connotations that you can apply to this. The trick to it all is having clear lines of communication and having all relevant parties sit down. And unfortunately, I've seen, in my time, families rip themselves to shreds, but look, where we fit in this space is we're not here to shoot the lights out. And I think that's one of the real key parts of really good quality financial advice. And certainly within the Nextplan world, including yourself, we have a great team of advisors that are here for the long term. They're not here to shoot the lights out. We're not looking to triple our money. If you want to do that, then maybe, Flemington Racecourse is a good option. But the reality is that what we like to do is have a good long-term relationship with the client, provide good, solid results, and really good information to make sure that we're understanding how to get those results and the risk versus return, reward, and all of those sorts of issues we need to understand. So huge opportunities for the future, and clients in the more robotic and more technological we become, I think the more important it is for human beings to have relationships and good quality sound relationships where people are actually asking questions like, what matters to you, and how do you want to get there, and how do you feel about that? Too often we don't get asked those questions anymore, and our industry is one of the few that does ask those questions and can provide solutions to those questions.
Yeah, that's pretty comprehensive there, David. Thank you. It's definitely a future. The future in Australia looks quite large with, as you said, the transfer of wealth from generation to generation. There's the aged care sector that's just going to grow out of sight in the next little bit. So, from what you do, from my perspective, I appreciate everything you've done for us at D. Walter and Associates since 2019.
Thank you, Dad.
And it's a very inclusive relationship where you join in with us and you're there to help us and talk us through, not to come in and pretend you're ASIC and how are we all going to get sued?
Yes.
That's always in the background. We know that. We don't need to have it front and centre.
Exactly.
So that's terrific. Rightio. Now we move on to the fun part.
Yep.
What is your favourite meal?
I would say, and it's I'd either go something like an incredible seafood platter on one hand, or a really good roast leg of lamb and all the side bits.
Oh, that's a surf and turf kind of.
Yeah, so maybe we'll throw them together and do a surf and turf.
Yeah. Do they have any magical lambs that swim in the sea? No,
No, that's right.
That sounds delicious. Sounds like an absolute feast. And hey, if you had one person, living or deceased, that you could invite round for a massive seafood platter or a roast lamb or potentially both, who would you bring?
There's too many, Dave. There's obviously past religious characters, presidents, prime ministers, those sort of But I'm going to say I have a favourite musician that I listen to. I have a music background, and there is a guitarist by the name of Pat Metheny, who is an American guy. He toured only a few months ago. Came out and did a special show for Vivid. The lighting. Up in Sydney, they have a lighting exhibition where they light up the Opera House and the harbour and blah blah blah. He actually played at the Opera House recently, and I went and saw him there. And he's just someone who I just love to sit down and understand where his ideas come from. I think probably more than anything, he's won something like 21 Grammy Awards across 10 different genres of music. So it's not as though he's won 20 Grammys across rock and roll. He's across 10 different genres of music, so jazz, instrumental, all sorts of stuff. And it'd be interesting to get an insight into how he does what he does. And probably, I'd probably after a little while, I'd probably think, oh, now I don't know what to ask you. So maybe it wouldn't be a good choice. But the first bit would be very entertaining.
That sounds terrific, and I'm sure you'd have the neighbours popping over the back fence, having a bit of a look at the magnificent guitar playing that's going on at your place. So. Well,
that would be part of it. He'd have to bring his guitar as well. It wouldn't just be eating.
That's fantastic. Hey, thanks so much, Dave, for coming on.
My absolute pleasure, mate. Always good to see you, and continued success to D. Walter and Associates, mate. You're doing a great job, and we're right behind you, as you know.
Thanks so much. So, guys, any advisors watching this, if you're looking for a new licensee, Nextplan Financial, David Corridon, there's the info. Or if you're looking for some financial advice, hit me up, and we can arrange a time to go through what's important to you and how we can help you get there.
Lovely.
Okay, thanks, Davey.
Thanks, Dad. Pleasure, mate.
Boring.
But effective.